According to Washington Examiner columnist David Drucker's forthcoming book and interviews that he conducted with Donald Trump, Trump admits that he left Republicans in Georgia in that Senate runoff race early in January. He left them out to dry because he was still pissy about losing the election. Here's what he said. They didn't want to vote because they knew they got screwed in the presidential election. I don't know. I did two very successful rallies. I did say a version of that, but not as strongly as you said, because I was very angry with what happened there. Okay. So, you decided to sink the entire Republican ship just because you were angry. You had a big sad that you didn't win the state of Georgia, so you wanted to stick it to those voters? You wanted to lie to them so that you could protect your bruised and fragile ego? That's what this is. This isn't about just sour grapes. This is about a man who basically has been able to do whatever the hell he's wanted to throughout his entire life. There was no problem, no trouble that he couldn't somehow weasel his way or buy his way out of until the 2020 election loss. And that got to him in ways that I think you and I are never going to fully understand or appreciate, because we don't have that same kind of narcissistic personality. We have been told no. We have failed. And we have not been able to get ourselves out of it, nor have we really thought that we needed to get ourselves out of it. It's a part of life. It's a part of growing and becoming a mature human being, but it's a part of life that Donald Trump never had to experience. So he does grow up with this affluenza, if you want to call it that. This feeling of I am invincible, I am the greatest, everything I do succeeds, even when he fails. He manages to say, but yeah, I declared the bankruptcies on that because it gave me a lot more money. But he couldn't do any of that with the 2020 election. He had to deal with real loss, real rejection for the first time in his life. And he didn't know how to process it. So he decided to just tank the entire Republican Party in the process. And by the way, I never said this before, but thank you for that. You know, we should all be grateful for him to him for this. Especially because he's doing the same thing now. He's doing the exact same thing today. Threatening just last week that Republicans aren't going to vote if you don't overturn the election results. We're seeing polls coming out with Republicans saying, yeah, I'm not voting because I can't trust what's happening. And that's because of Donald Trump. Republicans are panicking right now. They're strategists, they're activists. They don't know what the hell to do because the damage has been done because Trump is still so angry about losing. And that anger is never going to go away. Every time he gets in front of a microphone, he talks about the election being stolen, which it wasn't. Every time he goes out in public, he talks about that. He encourages people, maybe not actively, but passively encourages them to not participate in the process. And again, all I can say to that is thank you, because that may be the only way that Democrats hold on to power after the 2022 midterms. Ring of Fire has fresh content 7 days a week, so if you want to be reminded about it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell to be notified every time a new video goes up.